This week we're actually going to talk about the 5 mistakes that people actually do when going into property investing.
I'm not investing in the best and I'm not getting results. That will impact on my return on investment. That will impact on my gross.
It happens that they missed out one clause in the particular contract. It took him around 6 months to get the tenant out of the property.
Because you do not want to buy a house that is at its peak. Now the question is, how do you do that?
Yo, it's us back on the screens.
Thursday again, and you know that it's going down, man. We're all about property investing.
Yes, man. Last week we actually posted a video. Before we even talk about that, man, let's first start by introducing ourselves, right?
My name is Neo.
And this is Lebu.
Property investors.
Known well. So last week we actually posted a video based on why we are actually going to rent for the rest of our lives, and this was a bit controversial for a lot of people, right? Because now we got a lot of comments, people saying that, man, that's absurd, man. I wouldn't actually rent for the rest of my life when looking at the title, right? But now once we started diving into the content, actually people started shifting their mindset. So now this shows that, guys, when you're actually listening to us, please keep an open mind, because now we're going to actually come with content which is really out of the norm, right?
I remember when we were still in the planning phase, man, it was intended to evoke emotion. It was intended to disrupt the norms, man, because we were looking at property investing in this century. How do we make it possible?
Yes, man. So now this week's video is going to be really informative. I'm really excited about this week's video. So now this week we're actually going to talk about the 5 mistakes that people actually do when going into property investment, right? Even when actually buying a house.
So now these 5 tips, you should actually look at them before you actually buying, because now you do not want to buy and then only look into these 5 points. So these 5 pointers, before you buy, look into them, and they will save you a lot, because a lot of people are in problems right now because they didn't take these 5 points into consideration.
And actually looking at this, right? These are the things that we actually went through when actually going into the property market. So now we're not talking about something that we actually read, something that was thumbsucked. Those are things that we actually went through. So now if we're going to actually save you another 5 years, man, we're happy to do that, right? So now the first one, let's dive into the content.
The first one is buying a late estate, man. I mean, this is the one that's so close to home, man. This is the one that we can totally relate to. You know, when you're a property investor, you already have a time frame that you want to be in and out of a deal. So now when buying a property and then you buy into a late estate, it can be a problem.
I mean, this is what happened to us, right? So now, this is really out of this world, right? So now this is what happened, right? We were really excited about the property market, right? You know how excited you get. Oh my God, I want to get the first deal, right? So now, if you are a property investor, you know how long it actually takes for you to get the first deal, right? So now it really took us a long time to get this first deal. So now once we got the first deal, man, we were really excited. We got it way below market value, right? So now after that, we pumped, man. I'm telling you that, man, this is going to be really good, right? So now
only to find out,
we get the estate agent, right? The estate agent gives us the particular property and tells us that this person actually passed on, right? I mean, we weren't really that experienced when we went in, right? So now after doing that, they tell us that no, this property is a late estate. After telling us that, man, we're like, man, we just want to get the property, right? We want to get the property, revamp it, and actually sell it back into the market, right? After that, we sign every document. When the lawyers say, man, you have to make a payment, we make the payment the same day when we get the account number, right?
Only to find out.
1 month goes by.
Only to find out.
2nd month goes by. 3rd month goes by. The 4th month goes by. So now what we're actually saying is that with a late estate, right? What happens is that it actually takes longer than with someone that is actually still alive.
True. I mean, another one that will take longer is that with development. With development, you need to know what you're doing. If I'll be a property investor and I'm buying into development, or even if you're not a property investor, you want to buy a property and then you're buying property that still needs to be developed, it can take time. I mean, I know somebody it's about 2 years, they're still waiting for their property. It's been 2 years. So now, as a property investor, especially if it's your first deal, you do not want to find yourself in that position, because waiting for 2 years and now your money is tied up, it can be a problem. And don't forget, once you sign your legals and then you also pay your deposit, you're already legally bind to that property. So you do not want to find yourself on the back foot, whereby you'll be negotiating, no, I don't want that house anymore, and then they'll be telling you the terms and conditions that you signed to it because you didn't listen to, and you find yourself in trouble. So as a property investors, you need to look out for those two: late estate and development.
So now, be sure that you know your strategy and you know how long you want to be in and out of the particular deal, right? If you want the first thing that I want to be in and out of the deal, make sure that you don't go past those two problems that we actually went through, right? Then the second one that we're actually going to is
Running the numbers. You need to run the numbers thoroughly. So I'll not lie to you and say that with regards to property, numbers are not important. Numbers are everything. I mean, if I'll be talking about I want to become a millionaire, but numbers don't make sense to me, I need to make sure that I employ a good accountant. But at the same time, if I'm employing a good accountant and I'll be relying on them, I can't double check. I can't make sure that this person is doing the right numbers, because what we do is that before we actually buy a deal, we go into a deal, we run numbers, and that will actually act as an indicator, should we go for it or should we not go for it.
Definitely.
So now, if you do not know what your return on investment is, and if you do not know what your gross is, you get in trouble. I mean, you look at other investors, they'll be like, I've been running property for the past 5 years. And then you're like, what informs you to buy that property? You're like, no, as long as I can just put in a good deposit and then I'll be getting money from rentals back, I'll be getting my money, I'm happy. Is that the way of doing business now?
no, because now remember that with property, it could be the best investment that you do, right? And also it could be the worst investment you actually go, right? Because now when you win in property, you actually win big, right?
Sure.
But now when you lose in property, you also lose big. So now running the numbers actually makes the whole process actually makes it actually smoother than it would have been if you hadn't run the numbers.
So now, if you are or you're aspiring to be a property investor, here we're not talking about trigonometry, we're not talking about that maths that
Oh
will
my
actually
God.
blow your brains off. But financial maths is very important. I can't emphasize the importance of this. If you want to be a professional, profitable property investor, numbers are very important.
Yes. And now on to the number third, right? Number third is the one that actually gets a lot of people, right? We like saving money. You like saving money to a point whereby you want to actually cut costs and do it yourself, right?
It's a DIY.
Right? You do not want to do a DIY.
You
on
do
your
not want to become a
particular
DIY person.
You don't want to do that, right? Because now your job as a property investor is to actually look for good deals and then put everyone who will actually be working on the particular deal, right? So now your job as a property investor is to actually do what? Get the deals, right? The fixing of the house, don't get involved in it unless you have a background in construction or interior designing or anything like that, right?
And when he's saying don't get involved in it, he's trying to say that you mustn't try, because I know he'll do this. He'll be like, no man, let's not call that person who'll be putting in tiles, I'll do it myself.
Exactly. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing your own plumbing or anything like that, right? You get someone who is actually professional at doing this, because now this also helps you when they actually come through with their deals, right? They know where they actually stock, where they actually get the lowest prices, right? So now DIYs, please do cut that DIYs.
And do not forget, man, every time you're doing it yourself, you're actually not growing as an entrepreneur in some way, in the property aspect. Because now, if I can set systems that will actually run effectively, so whilst I'm looking for other deals, that will become more profitable, because at the same time I won't be spending so much time on this one deal.
Yes.
I'll grow more faster.
Yes. So now on to number 4.
Yes,
Cutting costs.
hey, that's one of the worst things that you can do.
So now this is what happened with my friend, right?
That's one of the worst.
They're a property investor. They got a property and they want to put in a tenant, right? So now what happened is that they went to a varsity student and said, hey man, remember, keep in mind that this varsity student has zero experience within the legal industry, right? But now they got what? They got into postgrad, right? So now what he did is that he went to the postgrad student and he told them that, man, can you please draft me a contract of someone who will be actually renting in my property? Well, the student is happy, right?
He was
Because now I'm only getting paid 500 rand,
Yeah.
right? I'm getting paid 500 rand. So now
And
that's
who'd complain of getting 500?
right. So now
I'll
this
draft
is
it, man. You should call me to draft your legals.
so now this is something that got him excited, that got the student excited, right? So now after the student getting excited, they actually wrote down the contract and gave him the contract, right? I mean, he saved a whole lot of money, right? He only spent 500 rand on a contract. So now,
That means he avoided your conveyance. So don't forget, guys, conveyances are your lawyers in the property game.
yes, he actually avoided paying the conveyancer, right?
Yeah.
So now after that, only to find out that
Oh, no.
the tenant,
Oh no,
the tenant,
no.
the tenant was a lawyer by profession, right? It
So that
took
means
him-
the tenant knows the law.
he knows the laws.
The tenant knows. Can say that
He's been in the industry.
you do not want to find yourself in that situation
So
as a
now-
property investor.
it happens that they missed out one clause in the particular contract. It took him around 6 months to get the tenant out of the property, because now this tenant actually knew the law. They knew what their rights are. But now because of the guy that was in postgrad but didn't have experience, right? Because now you wanted to do what? You wanted to cut out the cost.
You just go
right?
online, download a template of legals, and then you just
Exactly,
Huh?
exactly. You do not want to do that, right?
Do not.
So now, what are we saying? We're actually saying that do not cut costs.
Do
right?
not.
Actually get the best in the industry, right? Shop around, see what they have actually done. Go to their offices, see if they are actually reputable. After doing that, then you can go into business with them.
I mean, a practical example of us is that with our estate agents that we're currently working with, we went for the best. Why did we go for the best? Because I remember having a conversation with one of the people in our circle that why are you guys paying so much on estate agents? I was like, I would rather pay so much on an estate agent knowing for sure that this person will sell before this date, because now don't forget, with us, time is money.
Yes.
So the more I actually prolong, if I'm not investing in the best and I'm not getting results, that will impact on my return on investment. That will impact on my cross. Can you see how all of these items are aligned? Because now if I try to do it myself and I'm trying to cut costs, it will impact on my numbers.
Definitely. So now take this into consideration, right? Put yourself into this scenario, right? You have a property and you want to sell it, right? But now if you sell it with an estate agent, you're actually going to be losing 10,000 rand, right? But now if you go to sell it by yourself, right, you'll actually gain the 10,000. But now here's the trick. The trick is that if you do sell it with an estate agent, it moves really quickly,
True.
right? If you sell it by yourself, it will take 3 months more, right?
And it also depends again with which estate agent are you dealing with.
Okay, so now this is what happens, right? With an estate agent, right, it actually takes you 3 months more, rather less than what it would with doing it yourself, right? So now what happens is that in that 3 months that you will be waiting on that particular property, right? Remember, all of your money is tied up in that particular property. So now in that 3 months, if I do spend the 10,000 bucks, right, I would be able to go into another deal and actually sell it by the 3rd month, right? But now if you're still saying that, no man, I'd rather pay 3% or 2% on that particular property, right? You're trying to cut the cost. But now in the long run, what are you doing? You're actually hurting yourself, because now it's not only that 10,000 rands that you're actually saving. You're also putting yourself in a situation whereby you cannot actually go on to the next property.
Can we just say that we're buying time?
Yes.
Buying time.
So now as property investors, what we're doing is actually we're buying time. The quicker that you can actually get through a property, the more faster you can go to the next. Because now if you've done one, the one will enable you to do 2 at one time.
And then last but not least, number 5, which is overpricing. Overpricing can be one of the mistakes that you can do, guys. I think it's very important that you, before we even go to overpricing, it's very important that you actually know your property clock. Where are you buying that property? Because if it's at its highest, at its peak, then you're going to be in trouble as an estate, as a property investor, because you do not want to buy a house that is at its peak. Now the question is, how do you do that? Hence, you need to surround yourself with experts that will actually guide you and tell you before you even buy it. Because now once you buy it and then after it's at its peak, that means you'll be forced to overprice it. And what's going to happen when you overprice it? The market will not respond to your property.
Yes.
And what's going to happen? That means it's going to stay longer, and you do not want to find yourself in that situation as a property investor.
So now, if you're wondering on how to actually evaluate your property, we definitely did a video based on how to evaluate your property. If you haven't checked it out, please do go and check it out, how to evaluate your property.
Sure.
Yeah.
Long
Signing out.
hope that session was very informative because we put so much effort into it. And as we said, these are the things that we've been through, and we do not want you to go through that.
Definitely. If you do have a comment, please post it down below. We like hearing from you. Please like, and don't forget to subscribe.
Hit that notification button so that you are constantly with us, so that you are constantly updated and you are live.
Long well.
Signing out.